does a commission like the EFCC self-sanitize if its boss has those heavy allegations on his head? How would the prosecution of such a man in such a position have happened?
Well, it's debatable, really, for EFCC to prosecute its own boss. That will have been very difficult for EFCC to investigate allegations against its own boss. It's like me writing a petition against the chairman of EFCC, and I'm sending the petition to the same chairman who I'm accusing of certain wrongdoing. I'm sure you already know that nothing, will come out for, and there is no other person I can send that to the commission that will not forward such to the boss and say, look, I just received this petition against you, and you expect that the man will say, okay, let's set up a panel or a committee
to investigate.
To invest. So you could say, okay, in this case, the president may have been right to say, look at the allegations against this man. Okay, DSS, you're a neutral party, in this matter. Can you investigate this and turn the file to me, and let me see whether this is true or not? And I do not know the kind of allegations against Rasheed Bawa, to have warranted the suspension. We are not privy to what may have led to that. But in this case, I think you could just say, look, the DSS may be performing its function of providing criminal legal services, to the executive arm of government. It's part of what the act that set up the state security service. That's part of the powers they have. Okay. Able to uphold, and also ensure that you uphold the laws, of the Federal Republic. So in this case, is to interview Bawa naturally, ask for his account details, look at his call log, look at the petitions against him, and see whether they can extract anything positive from him or negative, whichever way, and they'll be able to prepare a report and send it back to the president, who is also the commander-in-chief of all the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Is there a problem of finding the right person to head the EFCC? Or is it a case of whoever is in that position automatically becomes a target?
Naturally, you're a target, without any doubt. You don't prosecute people who have involved in economic and financial crimes, and you expect them to go to church and do Thanksgiving and say, we thank you for sending us to court. It's a very sensitive job, I'm sure highly sensitive. It's a job that you can be offered money you've not seen in your entire life. Somebody can table it before and say, look, why don't you forget this case? Why don't you owe this $10 million, and forget about, it's a tempting position. Yeah. And of course, you expect that the commission will carry out its responsibilities and people will be happy. They will go to church and do Thanksgiving and say, look, I thank God that I was found guilty. I was sent to jail. Now I'm back. I want to thank God. Of course, you expect that you are exposed to a lot of people who are very powerful in this country. You understand? I always tell people that you don't need to be a president to be powerful in Nigeria. True. There are people who are not in fact, people who have not held any political position in Nigeria, but they are very powerful. So you understand when EFCC takes Olalekan to court, and people you've never heard them call you in your life. Some you adore them where you were growing up. A former president suddenly calls you and says, look, Olalekan is my man. What's the problem with him? Why don't you let him go? And all of that. So you understand that there's enormous pressure on whoever becomes the chairman of EFCC. And that may as well have contributed to why a lot of them have not just ended well. Because when the pressure becomes too much, then the president, or those who are a cabal, so to say now, those who are close to the president, can as well start telling the man, look, this young man that he said this EFCC is causing too much, pains and all of that. There are allegations that he has collected money, even though they are not, all manner of allegations can come up against you. And the president says, okay, no problem. I've heard enough about this young man. Can you tell him to step aside while we investigate it? Please put another person there.
Yeah, man.
And the moment you tell the man to step down, for you to tell him to go back is always a problem.